Hi, and this has been an ongoing look into a metaphysical understanding from the book of Revelation. And again, a special thanks to uh, Dr. Reverend Miriam Comer Johnson. Her book, The Open Book of Revelation, has been a big influence on me, as has other books regarding this book of Revelation, but hers has just been very enlightening and filled with illumination and personal revelation for me. So thank you, Dr. Johnson. Okay, today from Revelation, the fifth trumpet, the bottomless pit, the subconscious. This from the seven trumpets of the seven angels, Revelation 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Number 1. Then the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star from heaven, which had fallen to the earth, and the key of the bottomless pit was given to him. When the fifth trumpet sounds, we experience spiritual power. It is always joyful. We are now filled with the clarity given from joy, showing its contrast from anger, resentment, and suffering. The bottomless pit is the subconscious. It determines our belief system, our moods, and attitude towards life. Since at that stage we only have a mental concept of spiritual life, the pit is bottomless and can be a living hell. With spiritual life as only a concept, nothing really comes together. When the subconscious is based on material laws and beliefs, then all our faculties, what we see, hear, how we feel, what we like or don't like, and how we make sense of it will determine from the outer gathering and will create the mood and emotions that we will live by and be guided by. True spirit and inner life at best is vague and blurred. Our faith is in the race mind. The star fell from heaven is because we are now being forced to deal with our subconscious beliefs, moods, and attitudes. The key to the situation is the spiritual power of joy. Spiritual joy is the solution. When pure joy is experienced in the subconscious, it transforms our entire belief system, allowing us to realize what is lacking. The star that fell from heaven to earth lays this all out. And number 2, he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose out of the smoke like the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke of the pit. He is the intuitive experience of true joy. He opens the bottomless pit. It is to lay it all out, able now to take a searching and fearless look at all the hellish thoughts and beliefs that we have serendipitously entertained ourselves with. Smoke is anger, resentment, and suffering, creating moods and attitudes which have no foundation, just flying off the handle. Air is our demeanor, and the sun represents our being focused on the earth, blotting out the heavens, the moon, and the stars. When the spiritual experience of joy opens the subconscious, the bottomless pit, then this cause and effect work creates wonderful changes. The power of joy allows us to come face to face with our hellish beliefs. We see them for what they truly are. They have festered for so long that they have darkened our reasoning and causing the sun to reflect and blind our sight to the heavens. When we see this, the sun then opens up to a system of appreciation. The angel, which is the angel of joy, opens up the cauldron of negative emotions as we are now becoming into the embracement of angelic realization. Number 3, then out of the smoke came locusts upon the earth, and power was given to them, as the scorpions of the earth have power. Locusts are beliefs that prey upon the mind, anger, resentments, and suffering. They are predatory beliefs. Scorpions are feelings of contempt. The locust, anger, resentments, and suffering have germinated the subconscious and intend to prey on conscious mind. We allow them to eat into our understanding, just as scorpions are allowed to prey upon the earth. In truth, these predatory beliefs do not have a mind of their own. We allow them to use our mind. No matter what our faith is in spiritual principle, there is no magic formula or magical prayer that just removes what we allow to choose to think. Understanding alone will not heal. We will always revert to our anger, which we have put into motion, and not our understanding. Hoping will not make it go away. Here we are still under the law and not under God's grace. And though the law may offer a band-aid for temporary relief, the band-aid will eventually fall away and the unhealed wound will continue to fester. The hope of glory is a hope from the race mind under the law. Being loyal to glory is to be wed to God mind and not under God's grace. So again, the hope of glory is a hope from the race mind under the law. Being loyal to glory is to be wed to God mind and under God's grace. So number 4, they were told not to hurt the grass of the earth, nor any green things, nor any trees, but only the men who do not have the seal of God on their forehead. The spiritual awareness important to us is in its absolute truth, cannot be disturbed. Neither our faith, conscious wholeness, nor our inspiration, which is the grass of the earth. They are recently regenerated in consciousness, nor will they disturb any spiritual precepts already established in conscious mind, any green things. They also will not disturb our relationship with God, any tree. They will only prey upon those thoughts, beliefs, and feelings that do not bring love to the forefront of consciousness, have not the seal on their foreheads or third eye. Number 7, the appearance of the locusts was like horses prepared for battle, and on their heads appeared to be crowns like gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. The appearances are formations. The predatory thought line up one behind the other like troops ready for battle. Our anger, frustration, and our suffering, of which a like produces like, manifests these shapes into all our sight, sound, thoughts, situations, and circumstances. In turn, it creates a loop or a merry-go-round. As soon as we get over our resentments, we are reminded of how much we have suffered. We are playing the victim, of which we are the victimizer. And the more we react with anger and resentment, the more troop we build with which will greater our anguish. Crowns of gold are the power of victory. They force us to relinquish our anger, resentments, and suffering. The illusion of the race mind, erroneous thoughts, create a false power that leaves us continuing to play the role of the victim. The faces of men represents the human intellect. We are living in the misbelief of our thoughts. Again, we are living in the misbelief that our thoughts are rational. There is no other solution, believing there was no other choice. Number 8, they had hair like the hair of women, and their teeth like the teeth of lions. The hair is energy and vitality. The teeth of lions represents the grip or hold on us. They create that power that makes us believe our suffering is due to out there, its circumstances, situations, and conditions. We are held in the grip of this belief. The more we try to shake it, the tighter the grip. The beliefs have an emotional hold on us, not the words themselves, but the emotion that we have chosen. Our emotion is the reason we are in the reality we have made. We may even have the right thought in mind, but cannot emotionally detach. Number 9, they had breastplates, like breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the sound of chariots, of many horses rushing into battle. Breastplates are justification. The sound of wings are opinions, their ability to restrain us. Chariots are the feeling of being driven. With breastplates, which are ironclad, we justify our thinking about situations and conditions. The ironclad thinking allows us to take our stand, justify, and demand our beliefs. With our sound of wings, we analyze and deliberate race mind thoughts with a passion-driven fear of lack and an endless thirst for a continuum of liberation. This is our many horses rushing into battle, driving us. Now the angel that brought the situation came from heaven. And And at that time, and still in a dualistic conscious, we believe that this angel has come from hell. In truth, all the angel did was open up the bottomless pit, revealing his cauldron of festering, emotionally driven, erroneous thoughts and beliefs, which were already there and doing quite well in our subconscious. We created the hell all on our own. What has happened is our hellish thoughts have been brought up out of the dark caverns of our subconscious and into the light of our awareness. 10, they have tails like scorpions and stings, and in their tails is their power to hurt men for 5 months. Tails are the effects of the conclusion. The way this works on us is by blaming the outer situation responsible for everything that is wrong in our life. The outer situation is blamed for everything from our finances to where we live, from success to failure in our lives and our loved ones, from our work relationships to physical health. Our suffering is because of the situations that we allow to sting us over and over and over and over again. With truth consciousness, everything should be better. It is by putting our beliefs in the situation that the situation becomes the tails, and that becomes our cause and effect. There is no power in situations, and so by giving it power, we suffer. The 5 months represent our 5 senses, also God's goodness and grace. Again, it is the angel opening the bottomless pit. Our senses are being brought into awareness of the hellish thoughts that we have introduced into our subconscious and allowed to fester. But we are not just being thrusted into this consciousness. It is the angelic consciousness that has begun this journey, which is of God's grace and goodness. In this conscious, we begin to change a practice of praying to God and begin to pray. Instead of praying to God, we begin to pray from God. Instead of working towards God principle, we work from God principle. Instead of hope for glory, we become loyal in a faith to glory. And in doing so, we wed to God mind. Instead of blaming the outer conditions, we take charge of God-given power and therefore take charge of the mood we produce in our consciousness. 11, they have as king over them the angel of the abyss. His name is Hebrew. His name in Hebrew is abandon, and in Greek, he is the name of Apollyon. Abandon is destruction and ruin. Hebrew symbolizes the spiritual. Apollyon is destroying. Greek symbolizes reasoning of human spirit. So here the term Hebrew is the spiritual intuitive impulse bringing forth the abandon or destruction necessary to remove us from the material to the spiritual, from the outer to the inner. There is a greater power at work, an authority which rules beliefs that prey upon the subconscious. This is the king of our angelic consciousness, brought down from the heavens, our highest consciousness, to the earth and reaching down to the greatest depths of our subconscious, the bottomless pit. A single pure concept, just one star from the billions upon billions that dwell in our heaven consciousness, which is God mind, one consciousness. It's the same intuitive impulse characterized in Greek Apollyon as the destroyer, representing that which destroys our habitual beliefs, accepting material appearances and physical senses. Again, we see it as a destructive causing, as a destructive cause bringing us harm, but that's not it at all. It is a torment we must go through at this particular stage of our spiritual growth. There is no duality in God consciousness. Therefore, what we call pain and suffering is denying a perfect plan, which at times requires growing pains, not suffering rotting pains. And until we fully allow our love to transcend the human situations and material conditions, we will experience these self-made rough seas and their struggles. However, once we no longer need our love to respond, we will then become emotionally detached from the human situations and material conditions. Though this love is a presence which is always with us, and it generates our joy and spiritual power. This love disciplines us emotionally and protects us from the vagaries of race mind of human life. As we continue to turn to and turn into this love, more and more will cease dwelling on earth's material appearances to determine our well-being. We come to realize more and more, as stated in Psalm 16:11, in God's presence, it is fullness of joy. In God's presence is the fullness of joy. We must learn to walk like Jesus, not to follow like borns following their mother, but learn to walk as he walked. The love is known by our joy. Joy comes only from within. This true emotional attachment can only come from within. The outer materialisms of the human is only the sum of our thoughts. We are not scavengers taking what we can from the outer expression. We are God's children. We are created to turn within and embrace the stars and angels of the heavens, and thusly to know our earth as it is in heaven by filling our subconscious with the joy of divine love supreme. So here is a look at the fifth angel. That angel is joy. Its angelic consciousness is pure joy that can go into the darkest realms of our subconscious, our bottomless pit. And it can do so because it goes in with pure joy. And that which is in the bottomless pit is just eradicated. It is revealed as its erroneous thoughts and illusions of shadows, as the light bursting of joy comes in and cleanses. And when we cleanse our house, then God's grace enters. And this is the story about the fifth angel in the book of Revelation. Join me in a closing prayer. We give thanks, knowing that when we allow ourselves to live in the midst of omnipresence, that is love divine, pure wisdom, joy, well-being, grace, peace, to know that we are not separated from this. This is our being. This is our empowered strength coming straight to us, imported endlessly, infinitely. It is ours. It is how we are made. And so we trust and have faith in this. We don't pray to God, but pray from God. We don't go towards God principle, but instead it comes out from us. And we live in this joy and love and wellness. For truth is our freedom. And so it is. Amen.